All right. So today I'm going to be talking about how to integrate the higher time frames into a lower time frame entry. The exact question would be, a member from my Discord named Hickster said, I see it more clear on the 4 hour and 1 hour. So how do you trade that when you're scalping in a lower time frame? Can you make a video on that? That's exactly what he asked. So like 5 minutes later, making a video on it. And I'm pretty much gonna say it or teach it how I used it on this trade right here from today on today's April 1st. So he asked a question and I'm gonna just show it how I grabbed this trade right here. So on the 4 hour, well, let's just go to the daily or something, but I only use the 4 hour really. So on the 4 hour, we see this is the next draw. On liquidity, these were all generated highs. And the final draw was these all-time highs. Now, I knew we were confirmed bearish off of this inversion, but this candle didn't close till 10. So then after it closed, I was like, okay, we're confirmed bearish on the higher time frames, like the 4 hours time frame. So I know, okay, now that we're bearish, what is the next draw from here, right? From this close, what's the next draw? We got these equal lows, this low, and on the 1 hour time frame, there was, sorry, I think it was the 15 minute. On the 15-minute time frame, there was a low right by that resting fair value gap. So here was the setup. So I'll pretty much walk it through. 4 hour, right? We swept, inversed. So now we're looking for pretty much a lower time frame entry. The 1 hour, we just see the next draws, which are these. And remember that the market opened right here on this candle. So now we go down to the 15-minute and we mark out some intermediate term like resting liquidity. So what I was looking for was this fair value gap right here to get tapped and this 15-minute buy side liquidity to get hit. And so right here, 9:30 market opens, 15 minutes later, it taps. Now you're sitting inside this setup right here. And it just sweeps it, taps into this higher time frame fair value gap. Now we're on the 5-minute. So what I would have been looking for was an inversion. And if you don't trade inversions like that, this was another setup right here, just the market maker 2022. This is the 2022 model of ICT. Just tap in after the sweep and a break of structure, the fair value gap setup, and it hits all TPs. But let me just see where I got in on this because I remember there's like a 1 minute on here. Yes, right here. So right here at 9:38, I saw it come up, and then once I seen that it was going to inverse here, you know, it's weird. I feel like there is a 3 minute or a 5 minute inversion. I can't remember exactly properly right now, but let me see the 5 minutes. Yeah, maybe I was just not, maybe I was wrong. Oh, we're on ES. Okay. I did this on SPX 500. Yeah, so here was the setup. So I had this drawn out, and if I want to go higher, I had this high drawn out, but it didn't. It inversed here. You see the tap in with the wick, and right here was an ES fair value gap and a fair value gap right here. Taps in, hit all TPs. Just by using, the reason I do my charting on ES, it's just way cleaner. But after this sweep and then the 4 hour inversion here, we knew that the next draws were definitely these lows and to fill in this big imbalance here. So that's how I got those trades. And you pretty much, the higher time frames I use to just see what the bias is, like what I wanted to draw to, where is the highest like resting liquidity. That's like how I look at it and where the market wants to move. So pretty much I use that 4 hour as the 4 hour is my clearest confluence after it swept an inverse, so it confirmed bearish. Then I just looked for an internal liquidity sweep, which was these right at 9:30 right here. I waited for it to climb up, climbed up at 9:45. Then I had this fair value gap, completely got closed below. You enter in long right, short right here. I put my stop right over here. TP1 was right at these lows because it's like a low hanging fruit, right? A 1 to 2 8, 1 to 5, and then 1 to 6 4 2 for the runner. And honestly, this is a way bigger trade. And also, what I used the higher time frames for was the low resistance liquidity. These are untapped areas of liquidity right here. And this was just catching the pure extension move off of the 4 hour indication of a bearish bias. Now, if you waited for the break of structure and the retrace into the fair value gap, you're also good right here. This was another setup right here. I would have taken this as well. Only issue was, even though, yeah, it's a 5 minute fair value gap, it looks clean and it is clean. I like with confirmation of an inversion fair value gap. And as you can see, there's no fair value gaps on the opposing side. Just this big one, but still indicated clearly. I got a good fill up here. This is where most ICT traders entered right here off of this retrace. If you have any more questions on the 4 hours and how to use like the higher time frames, like send the pictures, join the Discord. I'll help you out personally. Let me see if I can find another walkthrough. All right, I'm gonna just go on any chart's a good chart, but I'm on VZ because I've been using this for a while. I've been calling out trades on this for a while and just swinging it. But as you could see, I'm using the weekly time frame here because you can't really day trade Verizon. But this was my biggest indication. Mainly my entry was here, right at this wick, because of this monthly fair value gap tapped into, swept out monthly lows, completely went up. And then I went to a lower time frame to find any other confluence, inverse the fair value gap. Daily looks like shit. Forget it. 4 hours the cleanest chart. Now I have, and these are old TPs, but see now I could be looking for a fair value gap entry over here because it inversed on a higher time frame here, and if it doesn't want to do this one, so I pretty much, let me see how to explain this. So I see a higher time frame fair value gap, like a 4 hour. I see the weekly inversion. So it's just confirming bullish. Then I wait for like a 1 hour or like a 15 minute. It really depends on like a nice move. It just all comes with market experience, honestly. But I just go out through slowly. And here's NQ. I have some markers on here as well. I go out slowly from the higher time frames, like this move here that I got off of this 4 hour fair value gap. Obviously, I wouldn't just go, okay, we tapped into the 4 hour fair value gap. Let's just go long and, hit the TPs, because that's just not how I trade. It's just too high of a time, right? So I'd pretty much get into the 4 hour fair value gap on a lower time frame, and I'd look for another setup inside of it. So what would indicate another setup? A liquidity sweep. So you have this, 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 this. You have the liquidity sweep right there. See the 5 minutes, if there's anything. All right, so we got this big gap, so you can't. It's not even a good point. But what I would usually do is there's this 5 minute, then there's this inversion here. I would have wait for that to get closed above, and if it did, I would have hit a long, put my stop loss wherever the candle, whatever I feel comfortable with, and target resting liquidity like these highs. But I pretty much just go down and down and down and down until I integrate it all into one time frame. Let me just look at a random part. So right back in the past, we're kind of choppy, but we're still bull. As you could see, I think this is all-time highs, this high. Yeah, this high is all-time highs after sweeping out all of this. We get a break of structure to the downside all the way down to here, sweeping out all of this, right? So this is all low resistance here. Then I would go to the 1 hour, find that low resistance liquidity it swept. Okay. Now, let's see, that's 3 p.m. Let's go to the 15 minutes, see what it looks like. I pretty much just go until until it feels right, until it looks good. 15-minute, there's a liquidity sweep, and then boom. This would be a singular inversion, and there's an internal liquidity sweep here. So this setup is highly, highly probable. And you have to remember there's major forms of low resistance. So if you're going to target an opposing side, always make sure there's low resistance. Like these highs, and these two highs. And yeah, you can pretty much just target. But that's how I would have gone about entering that one, because we went from a 4-hour sweep all the way into the 15-minute. And I would have honestly had to wait for this 15-minute candle to close, which is only 15 minutes, and then you enter in long. On the 5-minute, I don't think I would have entered because the singular fair value gap is on the 15-minute. Only if you're marking out fair value gaps, you have to trade them on the same time frame. Obviously, actually, let me rephrase that, because you could trade 4-hour fair value gaps on a lower time frame. But like, if this one gets let me see. Let's say this one, right? This one on the 1 hour, sometimes this wick can come all the way down here, right? It can come all the way down there. Now, we're not going to know if it's respected unless on the 4 hour it retraces out and closes it. On the 1 hour, it could look like it closed all the way through it. You understand? So only if it closes on a lower time frame and not the actual time frame the fair value gap's marked out, only pay attention to the time frame the fair value gap is marked out on. Kind of makes sense. I think you guys will get it, but it's just hard to explain what I mean. Like this fair value gap here, right? Not a prominent close above, really nothing prominent, falls. But now on the 1 hour, you could see there's a larger fair value gap. So that's why on the 4 hour, it looks like, okay, it might have closed above, but on the 1 hour, it just looks like tapped into another one. If you have any questions on how I use higher time frames and go down to a scalping trade for them, try to rewatch it a little bit, rewatch the videos. The 4 hour I don't trade on. I just mark out the liquidity. Like right here, there's 4 hour equal lows. I know this is the draw on liquidity eventually, right? Once those get hit, I could come to a lower time frame, which I did. I took this trade because there's low resistance liquidity marked. I could come to a lower time frame and find an entry. And if it doesn't give me an entry, then I don't take it. Let's see a sweep. No fair value gaps really. I want to find a good one right here. And I'm looking at this low and this low because those are internal sweeps, which I want to see. I want to see an internal sweep. So let's go to the 1 minute. It's probably going to be a 1 minute trade. I don't think I could even go that far back. All right, let's go to 3 minute. Is there an internal sweep? All the way from the 4 hour. Okay. So this would be a 5 minute, I'd say. Because those fair value gaps look like there was too many. I think on the 5 minute it would be singular. Yeah. So right here, you get this internal sweep, and from the 4 hour time frame draw. Now you can find a reversal area off of this inversion and target all the low resistance liquidity over here. As you can see, off of this fair value gap. Anyway, if you have any questions, I have a Discord. You can talk to me personally. I think it's extremely helpful. Other than that, good luck trading.